Alright, let's get straight into it. This is your boy R.I.M.E live in HD. We're about to get into a good subject today. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bells for all updates, upcoming events, upcoming music, things of that nature. We'll get into a pertinent subject today entitled participation. We're getting to the conclusion of this series. I want to definitely shed some light on an important subject for all of us. Participation. I want all of you to know that there are a number of situations in your life, upcoming, that's already passed, that you absolutely do not need to participate in. There are a lot of arguments, there are a lot of disputes, there are a lot of baitings, there are a lot of people that just want to try to ring your bells, they just want to yank your chain. And the crazy thing about that is, in all of these scenarios, a lot of the control of how that situation turns out is based on your participation. We see it on the gram all the time. Fights, disputes. I'm talking about public places. I'm talking about, random occurrences where a person felt like they had to respond. Because I'm like, man, I'm not about to be no punk. I'm not about to be looked at as crazy. I'm not about to forget all that. I'm about to handle this right now. This joker is pushing me to that last nerve, that last limit. I mean, it might happen in your family. It might happen in any scenario. But the interesting part about that is, none of these scenarios could turn out the way we see them play out without participation on both parties. That's where self-mastery comes in. Because if you can't master yourself, you're definitely not about to master your situation. You're not about to master your day. You're not about to master nothing. As a matter of fact, something's going to end up mastering you or someone. And when you get to the point to where any and everything or any and everybody could just turn your switch on, you're no longer a ruler. You're a pawn. You're a pawn. You could be manipulated. You could be controlled. Easily influenced. And here's the crazy part. That can trail off into the other areas of your life that are important to you. It can sprinkle off into other areas that can disrupt your productivity. He that doesn't rule his own spirit is like a city without walls. You're just wide open. Question is, do you want to live the rest of your days like that? Or do you want to master that area of your life? Do you want to take over that area of your life? Do you need strength and patience in those areas of your life? Just because you're invited to the party does not mean you gotta show up. Participation. A lot of us have participated in our own destruction. A lot of us have participated in our own demise. And for what? What's the profit to you? What's the profit to you? What do you end up getting out of it? Outside of a feeling. A lot of us participate in so much foolishness and waste so much energy. Forget time, because we're using time regardless of what we do. Energy on stuff that doesn't produce anything good for us. This channel's for thinkers. How many times in your life you've looked over a situation, you know, like, man, I wasn't even thinking that day. I wasn't thinking at all. I fell into that trap. I mean, you could look back at it and say, you know, no, it was a trap and stuff like that. It was a setup. But when you're not thinking, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. Guess what? You fall in the hole. You drive in a ditch. You lose money. You lose time. You lose freedom. It's because you're not thinking about what's going on. It was this one rapper, I remember an interview. He was talking about how he didn't drink and smoke when he was out there in them streets, because he never wanted jokers to catch him slipping or catch him when he's not on point, because he knew what type of game he was in. So he didn't never want to be in the club drunk, slumped over, you know, and knowing jokers, you know, had enemies and XYZ. Good principle. And now that he's out that game, he's in the rap industry, and he's, you know, he carries himself the same way. I respect that. That shows sign of someone that's thinking about more than what the average Joe in his position is thinking about. That's why Tyson was one of the coldest fighters and stuff like that, because he woke up way earlier than everybody else. 5:30, stuff like that. Training when people wasn't feeling like doing it. Put extra energy into it. He gave himself an edge on the game. You can't give yourself an edge over somebody or over a situation if you're not thinking. But the problem is we let ourselves get caught up in that heat of the moment. Don't you know the heat of the moment experiences determine whether or not you end up going to jail, dying, losing your family, losing your money, all that. It's always those heat of the moment situations where you could be like, man, if I would have just held tight 5 minutes, if I took a breather 5 minutes, if I would have thought about this 5 minutes, my outcome would have been different. What are mistakes for anyway? It's for review. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, the mistakes you made in your past, you have the opportunity to make those same mistakes again. The question is your resolve changed? Not necessarily you, but the way you look at the situation, the way you look at yourself. Between the time that first test that you failed came and the next test comes, what is your self-talk like? Have you evaluated that situation, or you just took it for like, all right, that happened, whatever, Somebody else try me again. It is what it is. Like, you know, like, how you gonna leverage? Because that's the only thing you can do with the past is leverage it. You can't change it. You can leverage your past experiences to elevate you in the future. Because 9 times out of 10, like I said, most people that's not patient, patience always getting tested. Always. Don't you know, the most impatient people, patience always getting tested for some reason. Somebody always getting on their nerves. Somebody always, because they haven't conquered that part of themselves yet. And a lot of times we haven't conquered those internal parts about ourselves because the goals that we claim we have, they're not that important to us. The bigger picture is not that important to us. We just out here deer in headlights. One instant to the next. Now, I'm a firm believer of taking it one day at a time, but you can never wipe clean the big picture, the goal that you're ultimately after. Because once you lose sight of that, you're just like a mouse out here. You're just like a mice inside of a maze. Don't know what your left and right is, don't know what tomorrow, nothing. You're supposed to know in your mind and in your heart and in your spirit what tomorrow's holding. Not the immediate tomorrow, but your tomorrow. What does your tomorrow hold? And if you stay focused on that tomorrow, it should influence how you conduct yourself today and every day. We're not robots. We got to maneuver through this thing called life. We have to calculate and think and navigate with God's help through this thing called life if we want optimal results. So just meditate on that. Meditate on that. What you participate in is going to determine your success or failure. What you don't participate in is going to determine your success or failure. And like I said, we got plenty of history. A lot of us, we got plenty of history to survey. But the key is honesty. Honesty with yourself. Honesty about situations you're in. Because if you're the type of person always blaming everybody else for why you end up where you at, you are going to continue doing that. And guess what you're going to continue doing? Being where you at. Notice, a lot of folk don't blame everybody else or give everybody else the credit for them being in a good situation. They blame everybody else and give everybody else the credit for being in a bad situation. More than not. You notice that? When people get in a good situation, they're not blaming Billy, Joe, Susan, and Martha. They're not blaming all of them or giving all of them credit. Like, no, I got that. I got here. I did this. Shoot, I worked for this. You understand what I'm saying? Only wise people going to, understand that it was a collective. Because whether you did the work yourself or not, it was a reason why. There were driving forces around you the entire time. Whether it be enemies, support systems. Nothing is done on an island. If you did something yourself, you still can't take full credit for it. I'm going to tell you why. The reason that you chose to embark on something by yourself is because 9 times out of 10, people around you weren't trustworthy to go with you, right? That influenced and forced you into an isolated state of getting something accomplished yourself because they were unreliable, right? That doesn't give you that much more credence though, because you did it out of desperation. Because had they been assisting you, it probably would have been an easier road. But because they're not assisting you, it was a more difficult road. And a road you needed to take, and you still took it. So kudos to you. but they still get credit. They're still responsible in one way or another. This world was not made for us to operate solo, without influence, without pushes, without having to endure, having to be tried in the fire. The Lord places us in specific situations that He knows we're built for. When He places us in situations. Now, when we participate in things outside of His will, that's when all the goofy stuff happens. That's when all the running in place happens. We're all unique, but we're not exclusive. We're all unique, but we're not exclusive. Everybody got to go from A to Z. We don't want to go from Z to S. You know what I'm saying? We want to move in a continual, progressive flow in our lives. And it all depends on what we choose to participate in and what we choose not to participate in. Who we agree with, who we don't agree with, who we honor, who we don't honor. This all takes participation. What we choose to act on, what we don't choose to act on. Who we get fights, who we get in fights with, or who we don't get in fights with. What battles we win, what battles we didn't win. Participation. We choose to value, we choose not to value as much. What we plan as a priority on the one hand, what we plan as a priority on the other. Everything we participate in has an end result, has a consequence, has a reward, has a backlash. Already attached. What do you participate in? What do you participate in? What are you not participating in? This channel's for thinkers. R.I.M.E live in HD. To drop that off. Found any value in this video, like, subscribe, share this video. Hit the notification bell for more notifications for upcoming videos and uploads. If you haven't already, check out my R.I.M.E music page, R.I.M.E music. New music being uploaded to that momentarily. Check you guys out on the next one.